I'm hitting the trail. It's time to do some talking. I'm gonna find me a honky-tonk hero with a story to tell. We'll have a chuckle. You never know, you might learn something. I'm hitting the trail. It's time to do some talking. I'm hitting the trail. It's time to do some talking.
You're listening to Tales from the Trail, brought to you by Cowboys and Indians Magazine. Now here's your host, Tyler Gummersall.
Howdy folks, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. On this episode, I got to sit down with David Lee and Josh Grider. Josh is an awesome singer-songwriter and recording artist from Texas. He also puts on a really cool singer-songwriter festival out in Red River, New Mexico with his friend Drew Kennedy. And then David is an amazing singer and songwriter. He was in Nashville for about 20, 30 years, wrote songs that folks like Alan Jackson and George Strait and Leanne Womack and Cody Johnson have recorded. And he had some number ones as well, like Lucky Man, that Montgomery Gentry recorded, Roll With It. Easton Corbin recorded that one. And he also wrote a song called Letters from Home that John Michael Montgomery recorded. And that's a pretty touching song if you've ever heard it. So we got to catch up with those guys at David's Jose Armadillo Studios out in Spring Branch, Texas. We just talked about songwriting and music and some other stuff. It was a pretty fun conversation. I'm also going to put in some clips of their music throughout the podcast every once in a while, so don't be surprised if you hear some recorded music mixed up in there. And be sure to stay tuned till the end. I'll let you know where to find all of that music and to find out more about them and more about the podcast. So thanks for being along for the ride. I really hope you enjoy it.
Bars in Texas.
All right, well, I'm here with Josh Grider and Mr. David Lee at the Jose Armadillo headquarters.
That's
Is that right?
Right in amongst it. There's Jose himself.
Yeah, looks like he's already had too much. Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about your story? We'll start with you, David.
Okay.
I mean, I know you grew up in Wichita Falls, yeah?
Didn't grow up there.
No, you born
I was born there.
Okay.
And lived there till I was, I think, 3.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom divorced 4 times before she was 27, so we moved around a lot. I was in Wichita Falls early and then to Mesquite, Texas.
Okay.
Lived in Mesquite till I was in 8th grade and then moved to Lampasas, Texas, and was down here in Lampasas through high school.
Neat. So you call that a hill country, I guess?
Yeah. So hill country's kind of home for me. That's why I came back here, because it's where all my memories, my first car, my hunting and fishing.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, do you think you draw off of that inspiration, you know, for your writing stuff, even once you went to Nashville and started?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think interesting life makes for interesting stories and interesting words. You gather a lot of information through the course of your life, and it wasn't intended on my behalf. As a kid, you want to grow up in a stable home with the
Sure.
same family and the same thing, but I think a lot of the dysfunction that happens in a writer's youth is what is fodder for their later work.
Sure. And you're from New Mexico?
Yes, sir. Born and raised in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Right. Yeah.
Just surrounded by country music my whole life. My dad's the biggest fan of country music. As big a fan there's ever been of country music, and it was on all the time. And
that's awesome.
just kind of that imprint. Before you can choose what you listen to, that's all I heard, and it just I don't know, it imprinted on me. And I grew up loving it and figured out I could play the guitar in high school and started scribbling out songs for girls I had a crush on or whatever.
Sure.
And
it's a pretty common theme,
yeah.
I think.
I went to college in Texas, and I heard about and fell in with all the Texas country music, because growing up I didn't know anything about it. I knew what was on the radio, and I loved it, what was on the radio. But I got to Texas and got turned on to a whole nother thing, and turned on to songwriters and songwriting and what all that really was, and started making records and and writing songs and trying to find places to play them. And that's what I'm doing today, and that's what I'll be doing tomorrow.
Forever, right?
Rest of our life.
That's all we can do. Yeah, growing up so how long were you in Las Cruces then?
I was born till I was graduated high school. Yeah, 18 years.
Yeah, so you get that really cool western wide open landscape. So did you start writing when you were a teenager there or no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd written a couple songs before I left. Me and a bunch of buddies took a road trip to Lukenbach for Willie's 4th of July picnic.
Really? Wow.
And one summer, the summer after I graduated, and I already knew I was headed to Texas, but it definitely made me even more excited to head to Texas because I'd never seen so many pretty girls and had such a good time listening to music and being at a concert. And, you know, just so many firsts are happening. Like David said, you know, you get that stuff that's what you write about for the rest of your life in a lot of ways. You just kind of digest that stuff and process it in a new way every couple of years. And I have these memories that, you know, you only have so many of those first things that you can do. And they mean so much that I think.
And you find that those experiences are relatable to other people.
And that's the amazing part, too. I mean, I've heard so many awesome stories from you about people who have come up to you about how your songs have touched them in ways. But I always find that interesting as a writer. You write it for your own personal cathartic, you know, experience. And then it touches somebody else, like you say, in a different way that you could never even imagine.
Yeah.
That's kind of the excitement too, right?
Sometimes not even in a way you mean.
Sure.
Somebody will take the song and make it their own.
Yeah.
And internalize the lyric and the meaning of the song for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's funny, people explaining to you what that song means to them, and you almost don't even want to tell them what inspired you to write it,
right?
Because there's a better story.
It takes away the secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, what have you like learned from that experience more than anything that's like shaped your writing going forward? Anything, or you don't change the process because of that?
Man, for me, I've learned that I have to be careful because I've had some interesting experiences in my life that other people haven't had.
Yeah.
And so if I write about them, the songs become too personal.
Right.
And they become a thing that's not relatable to the masses. And we don't write music for ourselves as much as we as writers want to pretend that we write for ourselves and heck with everybody else. I'm writing for me. It's bullcrap. I hear people say it all the time, but it's not true. No writer or painter or anybody creates a work of art that they want to hide under a bushel, bury in their closet, you know, for themselves. You want people to like it. And so I have to really check myself sometimes and make sure that I'm not getting so far outside the bounds of your average Joe that people don't want to listen to your stuff, you know?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it seems like that's kind of the final product, right, is somebody getting the communication you're trying to put across.
Yeah.
It doesn't reach them. Even when you're playing, like for me, you know, I'm sure you guys have experienced that. You play bar gigs where nobody's really paying attention. You know, it's like there's something missing there until that one person comes up at breaks like, hey man, you know, I really love that song. Even if they're not clapping or whatever, but it's like you get that connection. Or
well, it's how we communicate with the world.
Yeah, true.
It's our language. And I'm not the best communicator. I hurt people's feelings when I try to talk to them. Right. But if I can sing to them and sing that feeling of that story, then it's a lot easier to keep from saying the wrong thing. It's how we communicate. And if you're not communicating and you don't feel that the person's understanding what you're saying, it's like speaking a different language. You want to connect with the world.
That's what it's all about. And I know you have your good people song. I mean, for me, the reason I write music is to try to, you know, help the world in one way or another. I'm not a policeman or a firefighter, or, you know, but I feel like I should do something. And that song resonated with me because of that too. So obviously there's an element probably that you're trying to do your best to help the crazy world.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I do, writing is a very cathartic process for me.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, if you're playing for audiences, you want, like you said, you want to connect. You want to play stuff that people will like. And I think for me, it's always trying to find something. I'm trying to check a few boxes. I want to write something that stimulates me, that I'm proud of, that is cool. It's not just fodder for, you know, just a ditty, something that'll just be forgotten, but something that will appeal to people outside of my mom,
right?
Who's my biggest fan, you know, and find, you know, walking that line that's the fun, the tightrope act of trying to have enough meat on the bones to where you're proud of it and you play it for other songwriters and you get that look from other songwriters, the whisper off the mic, the like, damn you, which is the greatest compliment another songwriter can give you, is absolutely. Damn you. And you know, so you get that, but then also if you do play at a bar or something, you do it in the break, somebody can come up and go, man, that song reminded me of this or that, or you know what that song means to me, and maybe you're like, that's not what that song means, but that's fine.
Well, some writers write for other writers. We write for our peers.
Sure.
Like when I moved to Nashville, it was all, you know, we go out and see guys like Hugh Prestwood or one of these great songwriters, you know, and you want to, you hope that I can write a song that Hugh Prestwood or Guy Clark or Billy Joe Shaver, one of these guys would hear and go, wow, that's a great song. As a writer, you want to do that, but a lot of times if you go that route, you're gonna please all your peers. You're gonna be highly respected in the business. The fans ain't gonna love you. Sometimes the ditty is the thing that connects with all the people, and it makes them. Ray Wiley Hubbard be the first to tell you that.
Yeah, no
the
doubt.
song he's had to play his whole life that he can't stand playing. He wrote, it was a ditty, but it connected.
Sure.
And for me, I would write songs and turn them into a publishing company, and sometimes I wouldn't even turn songs in. I'd just leave them on my computer, and when it came time to make our quota, they'd come and say, David, you got any songs, man? You need some songs for your quota. And I'm like, man, I got some songs, but I just don't like them. It's like, well, let us have them. And so I'd give them to them, turn them in, and it'd be their favorite songs of the year.
Yeah.
Man, I love this. Why didn't you turn this in? And then I would start second guessing myself at that point. Am I crazy? Do I not know? But a lot of times it's hard to know what people are going to connect with.
I think that's an absolute. I mean, I did that for a long time. Every song I wrote, I wanted Walt Wilkins to love. You know what I mean? And then I started hamstringing myself, not through any fault of Walt's. He didn't tell me anything. This was just all in my own head.
Yeah.
But I regarded him so highly as a writer that it was just like this. I had this block, in my mind, and there's a time for ditties. That for me, learning that there's a time for all the human emotions that we experience through a day, through a week, through a lifetime. There should be a song for all those.
You should be able to write all of them.
And you should. It took a lot of years actually for me to free myself up to do that enough.
Yeah.
And I put a ditty out called "One Night Taco Stand," and man, I was tortured over it. But I don't know why.
Yeah, but that's the song I hear on the radio.
It did great, and I mean, for me, it took. Just thinking about one of my all-time heroes is Roger Miller.
Yeah.
And he was not afraid. I mean, country music has a long history of winking at the audience. Just being like,
clever, it's fun. People
every day he stopped loving her today, you know.
Sometimes this woman wearing nothing but a smile and a towel and a picture in the field on a big old highway.
Exactly.
Damn good taco stand, $3-4 cold beer in a can with picnic tables drenched in Christmas lights, where they serve till 3 a.m. anything Mexican. Forgive me if this seems out of line, 'cause I know that we just met and you don't know me yet, but you're beautiful and I just had to ask, would you be my senorita, or 1 or 2 carnitas, and the AM sound of an old Tejano band? Have you ever had a one-night taco stand?
And that's for me, it's an interesting process to go through to arrive at that point to where it's like, some days a ditty.
That's a maturation process for a songwriter. You got to go through all of that.
Yeah. And sometimes I wonder too, like, I don't know about you guys, but some songs take quite a bit of work, and some songs come really easy. And it feels like the more flowing songs, sometimes those ditties are like a more flowing kind of just you throw it out there kind of a deal. And sometimes that effortlessness to me ends up working out better. So I wonder if that's part of it. It's like if you don't have as much significance or attention on making it this amazing song, right?
Right.
That comes through somehow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell people, even the poignant songs that I've had hits with were songs that came really quickly. Yeah. People ask me how long it took to write Letters from Home. Yeah. And I said, it took 40 years, 2 hours, and about 30 minutes. Yeah. It was that whole process of coming to that. It took to get to that place, but that song just kind of fell out for us. And most of my hits were that way, with the exception of 19-something. That
Interesting.
That took a while to beat on. But most of the ones I beat on and thought they were really great songs because I finally got them wrangled. They were the songs that just kind of sit there, you know. And
that's interesting.
It's a head game, man.
Songwriting is a very interesting craft, no doubt. And it's, so subjective, as all art is. But, I'd like to think that I know a well-crafted song, or, you'd like to think that probably too.
All art is subjective, and people say that, and I agree, but there's some art that nobody wants to look at, nobody wants to buy. Yeah, true. Nobody wants to hear. True. And I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. I don't want to be the guy that everybody says, oh, he's a great artist, he does his own thing. Yeah. I want my stuff to be liked. And so a lot of times you got to change what you do to you got to try different things, and sometimes the trying works. I've written stuff like the Hillbilly Rich song. I sat down with the purpose of writing that song to try to pitch to Trace, and it got cut by Trace. That doesn't happen very often. Where you go, I'm going to write a song, this is the way it's going to be. It's very subjective, but it's not. Everybody knows bad art, everybody knows bad songs. People hear them, they know. I mean, even Achy Breaky Heart, I don't like. Wasn't my favorite song when it came out. Right. But it is a very well crafted song. The song goes together, everything leads. It's all structurally a sound song.
You like listening to it. Yeah.
I like hearing a well-written song that's from top to bottom. It ain't my kind of song. I would never sing that song. I would have never cut that song. Yeah. But you can tell they crafted it. They did a good job. Putting it together, and that's why it was a hit.
No doubt.
And I think authenticity can go a really long way to make up for craft. You get in, once you get higher up in the business and you get more and more opinions, a song that maybe a singer can really deliver. Like I think like down here in the Texas music scene and stuff, people can beat up the songs and say, well, that's not a perfectly crafted song, but if a dude's singing it from his toes and it's an emotion and it's something that he really believes, that authenticity can make up for a lot of it. You know what I mean? And a song like Hillbilly Rich, there's an authenticity in it. You know what I mean? The Dallas Cowboys hot tub and stuff. Like you just picture all that. It is, you believe it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's when stuff is really, that's when it really works. Is if it's crafted well and there's an authenticity to it. And some people are great liars. You know what I mean? Like, some people can put on the act and make you believe it, but that's what a great singer does to a great song. Yeah, is just make you believe it, and that's when it works.
Well, like really Stapleton was one of those guys that he sang so good, and when you were in the writing room with him,
like everything.
It was like everything was great, and I would look at him and I'd look at and he's over here singing, and he's singing full voice, like peeling the paint in the room, and it sounds like a record, and I'm like, Chris, say that line to me. Right. Don't sing it. Just say it. Because I can't tell if it's good, And that's why a lot of writers that are they've become successful songwriters. They're great singers. They're not necessarily great writers. That's why they get a ton of songs cut, but they never get a single on the radio.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because they get all these songs cut because of the quality of their voice. People can't tell, is this good or is this bad? It's just, he's so good that I believe it.
Right. Believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like, yeah, there's almost like a percentage of like, you know, the band, the song, the singer.
Oh, it is. It's
the right blend.
What's this perfect equation? Sometimes it's way stacked in this. Sometimes it's the production. Sometimes it's just that guitar riff that is so undeniable that it finds its way on radio and gets played and played and played. But then you can't remember it a year later. You know what I mean? It's just gone.
Yeah.
It's the ones with the substance. It's Letters from Home. That's what sticks. You know, because.
No doubt.
Because man, there's an authenticity in that thing that when you hear it, it's
undeniable. I mean,
that's right, undeniable.
Undeniable. I you know, long before I met you or even knew, honestly, you know, you existed as a songwriter. You know, I heard that song on the radio probably as a young kid, and it's stuck with me my whole life. I mean, I think we all have those experiences.
Man, and when you write a song like that, and you're fortunate enough that you're in the room holding the pen when God decides that's going to be born into the world. Yeah. You happen to be that vessel. It's very humbling because it happens, and then it goes out there and it becomes everyone else's song.
Yeah.
It's not your song anymore. I'll hear it on the radio, or somebody will tell me a story, and I've sat in a restaurant and heard the song come on and watched a group of people at a table singing the words while they're eating. You know, and it's just strange. And I'm sitting there going, they're singing my words. They don't know me. They'll never meet me. They don't know it. It's not mine. It belongs to the world. You realize those songs are meant to be here.
Yeah.
And I don't think you get one of those unless you write a whole bunch of bad ones. Okay. And you write, you know, stuff that doesn't have success and things that kind of come and go, and you might get a little bubble here or a bubble there, but you just keep working. And over time, I think if you stay with it long enough, I think every writer has those in them.
Sure. Yeah.
To be brought out.
Yeah, I always find that, you know, inspiration versus perspiration thing interesting. I know for me, it's like, unless I just sit down and write, I won't really write. Like, right. I don't get a bolt of inspiration. You know what I mean? I don't know about you guys.
Well, Hemingway said it best. He said inspiration is something that comes during the course of hard work. If you wait on inspiration, you'll never create.
I like that, yeah.
you gotta get in it. Mm-hmm. Write a bunch of bad songs. And I got to where, as I got smarter as a writer, as I got older, I would start a piece of a song, and it didn't feel good to me. I'd jump to something else. I might have 6 things going at one time, hunting for that magic moment when I can say, okay, I did all of this to get here.
Yeah.
Might work 8 hours on all this stuff to get to this title, to get to this place.
Yeah.
And just follow it along, you know, and it takes a lot of it's a lonely vigil.
Yeah. Being a songwriter.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely see that. It seems like, you know Zane Williams' song, that Overnight Success song?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that song. And it seems like everything in life almost, you have this thing where you work, and then there's that one moment, or multiple moments, but like kind of pivotal moments in a career or a life. But it's all the things that lead up to it. What are some of those moments? Do you have any of those?
I'm still waiting for the pivot.
Yeah, we're also waiting for the pivot.
Oh, man, I don't know. See, I guess those are easier to define as you get distance from them.
Yeah, sure.
I'm a very forward-looking person, and I always have been. And it's not. I'm not saying that's the best quality to have. I'll try to work on living in the moment that I'm in. But I'm so, what's next? What are we gonna do next with this, that I can miss stuff. You know. I mean, I can look back. You know, moving to Nashville was a very pivotal moment in my life as a songwriter, for sure. Just to get in the game, like David and I were talking earlier today, and see these guys, you know. And when, you know, the first Tim Dubois told me, he goes, "There's no minor leagues here. You know who else is writing today? Craig Wiseman and Jeffrey Steele. All those guys are writing songs, and they want the same thing that you want when you go sit down and write your song. That's for it to get heard as big. So that's your competition. Yeah, go out there and write something. You know what I mean? And it's just like that'll scramble your brain a little bit for a minute, you know.
Sure.
But then I embraced it, you know. I mean, I loved that,
but that muse, man. I don't care if it's Craig Wiseman. I've written some of the worst songs of my life trying to write with Craig.
Sure.
You know, it doesn't matter who it is. We're all waiting for that moment when that inspiration, when that, I call it the muse. And I think that muse is on Music Row every day.
Yeah.
And I think it's moving around from room to room to room through that whole town.
Yeah.
And any Joe Blow could have that muse in his room that day.
Yeah.
Now, whether he knows what to do with that, those guys are more seasoned and professional. So they know when it strikes, when that moment of inspiration strikes, that magic, they run with it. They know what to do with it. There's some guys that'll get a burst of it, and either through ADD or through not understanding the process, they'll have a piece of it. That's why you'll hear these songs that they'll start off and it'll really suck you in, and you'll have to hear this moment, and then all of a sudden the second verse goes to crap.
Right.
And you realize they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But we all have those moments, and I've always flown by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
Always. Music has been a journey for me since I was 8 years old. I jumped on it. I wanted music. I let music lead me wherever it leads me. It took me to Nashville, and it gave me a career. It gave me a life there, but it also brought me back here. And the life I'm living now is as full and as happy, and it's got a lot more people that care about me that I care about than Nashville did.
Yeah.
So my quality of life is good. Everything, that whole change, as long as I'm following the song and I'm staying true to myself, I think it always finds a way.
Yeah.
It just finds a way. If I'm trying to control it, if I'm saying I'm going to be a writer and I'm going to move to Nashville and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, I went there not even knowing I could make money writing songs.
Yeah.
I knew if you had a hit, you could make money, but I didn't know about publishing companies. I didn't know. I just moved there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like you.
Yeah.
I just said, I'm going to go check it out.
Go do it.
And I went and checked it out, and I'm hanging out, and the guy says, man, they pay you $300 a week to write songs. I said, where? They said, the publishing company. And I said, I mean, I can just go up and talk to them, and they'll take my songs. No, you got to get a deal with them. They sign you to a contract, and then you write, and it's a job. It's like being a staff writer. Yeah. And man, when I found that out, then I started focusing on, okay, I got to get out and play. I got to get one of these people to hear me.
Sure. And
I played writers' nights for 3 years, and finally, the lady there one night said, "You got a publishing deal somewhere? Are these your songs?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, man, I could think I could help you. Come meet me Monday morning."
Yeah.
So I go Monday morning, walk in there. I didn't know what I was doing. Sit down, and the guy says, "Hey, man, I think I can help you out. We'll pitch you songs for you. You want to work for me? I'll pay you $200 a week." And I said, "Okay." I didn't even question it. I couldn't live on $200 a week, but
sure.
I was going to live on $200 a week because I wanted to write. And so he gave me that room and didn't do a contract. It was a handshake deal.
Oh, wow.
And I just went in there and sat down and started writing. And then I got a song recorded by somebody, by Terry Clark.
Yeah.
And when that happened, then he came to me and said, "Okay, we need to do a contract." So we do the contract, and all of a sudden I'm in this publishing situation. And I'm like, how did I wind up here? Yeah. The song. The songs. You just follow the songs. You just write another song. And that's, my buddies, we'd always say when we'd have stress or be freaked out about something, it's like, you can't will it, you can't finagle, you can't shake enough hands, you can't do enough bullcrap on the sides to try to make everything work. Mm-hmm. All you can do is write a song. That's all you can control.
Yeah.
So you write that song and you move on every day. And the music will take you.
Set up on that wire, you got no net below. You do it 'cause it's in you, and it's all you know. You don't care if no one listens, you still sing your heart out. And no friend of mine, we're two of a kind without a doubt. Songbird, sing me a tune, like the rain ain't falling and the sky is blue. Songbird, you're the one that always rolls away the clouds and finds the sun.
It will guide you. It will lead you. But you have to be true to it. Beyond true. It has to be your life. You have to eat, breathe, and sleep it. Yeah. And there's a lot of guys that want to dip their toe in. They come to Nashville and they want to test it out. And they go, well, I'm not going to give too much time. I got a college degree, and I got this job waiting for me back home, and got this girl, and I'm just going to see. They might as well not even come.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work like that. You got to sell out, 110%. It's got to be your life.
Yeah.
And it will give you back something.
Yeah.
It may not give you a whole lot, and it may take. I got a buddy that's 65, and he just had his first 2 #1 songs. One on Luke Bryan, and one on who was it? Jason Aldean.
Wow.
Back to back.
Wow.
He's retired, and all these songs he'd written and all this work, and he stayed with it all these years. For 30 years in a publishing deal, and never had a hit.
Wow.
And bam, he gets 2 #1 songs at 65 years old. He didn't quit.
Yeah.
If he'd have quit when he was 50 or 40 or 30, he would have never known what he's knowing now. And at 65, 2 #1 songs will carry you well into your retirement.
Sure, yeah.
Really.
No doubt.
So he feels like now he's been paid back
Yeah.
for all the effort that
He
he
did
put
it for
in.
the right reasons, though, obviously. I mean, you don't
He
stick
loves
with
it.
it for that long. If you...
He loved it. He loved it. He loved getting up every day. He hated living in a trailer.
Yeah.
He hated not having any money.
Sure.
He hated being a bus driver. He drove bus for Garth and all these
Yeah.
people through the years. But he always kept a publishing deal, and he always wrote enough songs and worked hard enough to manage to keep a deal.
Yeah.
And he didn't play guitar,
No?
and he didn't sing.
Wow.
All he did was
Writer,
lyrics.
Just lyrics.
All he did was lyrics.
Man.
And I would have never had the balls to do that.
Yeah.
But he did, and he stayed with it. And man, it paid off for him. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell all these young people, man, stay with it.
Yeah.
Stay with it. Don't quit. Don't give up just because it's hard, just because people tell you can't make money or you can't do this or you can't do that. I think you stay with it, and it will reward you.
Yeah. Absolutely. That seems to be the biggest or most consistent advice is persistence. I mean,
Yeah.
in this business, if you want to make it, I mean, you know
Write another song, play another gig.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
I would say learn another chord, but don't learn too many chords. Then the song gets too
I get too
confusing.
fancy. Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's all you can control. And we get caught up in all this stuff we can't control. We think if we spend some money online and we do some advertising, we do some publicity, that it's gonna be good. Or if we go shake somebody's hand or go hang out with so and so, it's gonna help us. And granted, that can put you in positions to help you. But if you don't have the songs, if you haven't done the work and you don't have the music, then you can't. What do they say? It's the opportunity and preparation meet is luck. Luck is
opportunity and preparation. Yeah.
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 And so that's what I keep telling my daughter's trying to get into this. And I told her the only way you're going to be successful is if you're ready when opportunity knocks.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, and you don't necessarily know when it's going to happen. It's definitely a surprise.
But you can control your songs.
Sure.
If you don't have enough songs, I meet writers all the time playing the same songs they've been playing for 10 years, and I'll run into them and they're playing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you think if you keep playing those songs long enough that eventually they're gonna change and all of a sudden be better?
Yeah. We didn't miss it the first time.
No.
Or the 10th
It's
time.
like telling a joke 10 times in a row that nobody gets. It's like sooner or later you got to get a new joke.
Yeah. And now since you've been in Texas, you've been performing a lot more than when you were in Tennessee?
Oh,
or
God,
were,
yeah.
Yeah. So how has that changed for you? You're having fun with that? Or?
Man, I am. It's different. It's a lot different world. I was excited about getting out of the writing room.
Yeah. Because,
in a writing room, you're alone or with one other guy every day, and it's just, it over time, it kind of, you wish you got all these songs you've written and nobody's heard them.
Yeah.
And you think, my idea moving back to Texas when I came back is I thought, man, I got 1,000 songs buried back there that I could pull out and make records from now on and never have to write another song if I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And I could go tour and I could go play but coming back, when I was 46 years old when I got here. Mm-hmm. So at 46 years old, you're coming back into a system full of people that have cut their teeth and been here playing these clubs and working, and it's been their whole life. They put as much into this as I did into writing songs in Nashville. Sure. So they have the gigs, the clubs are kind of set. So it was really hard, coming back, trying to work your way into that system and allow people to get you opportunity to.
You're starting, yeah.
To do it. So basically, I'm starting my life completely over. But the cool thing about it is the journey was just like when we went to Nashville. It was exciting.
Yeah.
And after 25 years of being in Nashville, you kind of get in a rut. You know, it's like the same old thing. And when they quit paying us, you know, when the internet took over and everybody's giving their music away for free, I thought, what does that mean for songwriters, and how long can this continue? How long can we have a business? How long will it be a viable business operating in Nashville? I still don't know the answer to that. It still seems like it's going, but the writers aren't being paid.
No.
And not fairly.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of these young kids will come in and think, you know, $30,000 is a lot of money. And it is to some people, but when it's a way that you feed your family and the way they built this model, it's just not sustainable.
Yeah.
So for me, it was come back, and now it's a new experience. We're trying something brand new,
which is exciting. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily even know. I think people more and more nowadays understand, but you know, I don't think folks knew that the people that are singing the songs didn't write the songs, and that there was this whole basically blue collar or day job, working class
in the trenches.
Yeah, in the trenches of people writing songs for these artists, and that is basically gone away essentially. I mean, I can't imagine just being a songwriter now and trying to make a living off of that.
You can't, and people that can't sing and play as writers, it's a real shame.
Right, and a lot of people can't, and they're amazing writers, but they can't perform. So how are they going to feed themselves? Yeah, I mean, basically, it's like the only way to make any sort of fair compensation is to have a huge hit on the radio.
To be Luke Bryan's buddy from high school.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah, you got to be in a camp.
Sure.
Which is why I spend a lot of time working on time machines. We're all going to go back.
Love it. That's right. We're going to go to summer camp, get in with those guys. All right. Well, thank you for bringing a little bit of levity to the situation. It was getting a little serious, and it is a serious situation.
It's a serious situation.
It is.
It is. Yeah. People laugh and they want to blow it off, and a lot of guys in Nashville want to stick their heads in the sand like they don't see what's really going on around us.
I mean, I don't know, and I don't know how you. I mean, I don't have the solution, obviously. I mean, with the new decision, hopefully that there's basically going to create a copyright board for digital mechanicals, right? I mean, they're trying to.
But they're being sued by Google and these big companies. They're never going to win that.
Yeah, so it's
I don't know anybody in town or in Nashville without some. Either they're major happening right now, or they've got back catalog, have written hits. Mm-hmm. Just anybody that gets signed to a deal, that's just one of their jobs. Yeah. I mean, they can't afford for that to be their only job.
Oh, no.
There's a side hustle. They're driving for Uber. They're doing something else.
Yeah.
Which makes it really hard to do what you have to do, which is to just completely bury yourself in it.
It's impossible. So the quality of our music will continue to decline.
Sure.
And Nashville's one of the most popular cities out there. The cost of living in Nashville, all that is just going
skyrocketing.
Right.
Yeah.
So just to move there and want to live on bologna sandwiches and really commit yourself to it.
No, you can't.
You
can't.
It's difficult.
Our whole industry has been changed, and people don't want to accept it, but not talking about it is not going to help it. I think the more people that are aware, I think the more people that understand that it's not about me and my job now, and that's what I try to tell people. It's not about me as a songwriter. I don't advocate for songwriter rights for me.
Yeah.
I advocate songwriter rights for my daughter.
Sure.
And for the next generation of songwriters that are coming up, and the quality of music, our culture.
Yeah.
We had one of the greatest musical cultures in the world here in Texas, and took it to Nashville. Yeah. The writers that came out of this state went to Nashville along with other writers that were great coming from everywhere, and they came there and they elevated the quality of the music. Listen to country music in the 50s and the 60s, and listen to the lyrical quality of the music that happened all the way through the 90s.
Yeah.
It was like a completely different world. It elevated us. The listeners got smarter. They knew what was great. They knew a turn on a phrase, a double entendre, a metaphor. They got that. But now we're threatening to get back to a generation of people by dumbing them down with the music that we're putting out, because it's not written by quality, really good songwriters. It's just thrown together with some really cool tracks, and they put it out there and people love it, but they're not seeing the cultural decline.
Sure.
And I don't know where it goes. I mean, they're talking about having computers write songs in the future.
Yeah, IBM Watson or something like that.
But no computer will ever take the place of what you do, of what I do, and what he does, which is sit on stage with our guitar and sing a song.
And connect with an audience. And for me, it's kind of like a full cycle, like you're talking about, writing and then performing. I always go in that kind of cyclical thing where I'll write a lot, and then I'll kind of get burnt out on that, and then want to go play. But yeah, how do you guys not get burnt out on one on one aspect, or do you get burnt out?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd try to balance between writing. I spend time in Nashville still. I go up there and write and I tour, and play. And I've gotten into production, and I've got a studio at my house where I've gotten into, I actually have an artist that I've started producing a little bit and producing my own stuff, demos and stuff. So between all of it, the creating it, recording it, and performing it, that's sort of those are my three. Those are the three things I try to keep in a balance. And if I get too heavy on one, I'll start to burn out on it, and that'll just tell me it's time to spend a little more focus on one of the other ones.
Well, see, I can't walk and chew bubble gum. So for me, if I'm writing, I'm writing. And so I have to lock myself away and literally not answer the phone and not answer email and not do anything but write.
Yeah.
And because that's the way I did it for so long in Nashville. I was sequestered every day in a little room.
That's really productive, because the distractions, like, even working around your house, like you walk by, oh, I need to do this.
So when I go play, writing I equate to daytime work, and playing I equate to nighttime work.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you got to play at night and you write all day,
that's a challenge.
You burnt your brain out. So I try to play on the weekends, and I try to write and do like pre-production stuff, guitar, vocals, and with my little Pro Tools rig, I mess around with that. Usually it's late at night.
Yeah.
It'll be 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. I'll be in here messing with that when the world quiets
without
down.
distraction.
Yeah, and everything. But our business is so much about not having distractions around.
Yeah.
Being completely away from everything. But then the performance side of it is exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
It's a whirlwind. It's all these people, and it's traveling, and it's all this stuff, and that's fun, but I can't write and do that too.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder how these guys can write when they're touring so much, and a lot of them don't, right? I mean, it's...
No, they don't, and that's the big thing. They take writers out on the road with them, and I've been out on the bus with Darius Rucker and with several people, and you get out there and you can't really do nothing because there's people coming and going, and hey, we got some people here who want to meet and greet. Hey, there's a radio station here, and it's like the artist ends up busy, and you end up sitting there writing a song, trying to help them out, and so that's why they bring writers out on the road with them, because you just can't do it all.
Yeah,
not well.
Right. Yeah, you can't, like you say, you got to put everything into what you're doing.
I'm trying to figure out how to masterfully half-ass everything that I do, enough that I can accomplish it all.
Yeah.
100% half-ass.
Yeah, 100% half-ass. I love it. Well, I do, like, growing up in a rural setting, for me, that's influenced a lot of my art and a lot of my personality. Obviously, you grew up in a very rural kind of setting. You probably grew up in the city, but...
Yeah.
I mean, Las Cruces is a
But
rural...
it's New Mexico.
Yeah, it's New Mexico. Yeah, Las Cruces.
You get out of town and
it's pretty western. Yeah, the same for you. I mean, has that kind of shaped, even if it was on a very fundamental level, shaped some of your personality and creativity?
Oh, yeah. I mean, New Mexicans, Texans too, but especially, I mean, the people I grew up with were very self-reliant people.
Yeah.
they could, and I think just the Westerners in general, you know, from just trotting out here and setting up shop in these towns. I mean, that heritage still is still alive in the people of the West, and they're very self-reliant. So just in the stubbornness of the not quitting, trying, we'll figure this out, and we don't have exactly what we need right now, but we're gonna make do until we get what we need. You know, that mentality, I think, has served me very well in what can be an incredibly frustrating, you know, feeling like you're on a dead end road, and sometimes having to kind of make your own road.
Yeah, I always find that every time I cross the Mississippi, I'm like, man, they had to make a choice. To not be like, no, this looks good, you know, we'll stay in Tennessee, or we'll stay whatever. Like, no, we got to keep going, and then keep going, and then keep going. Yeah, it's a different deal, you know. I love the West, but then the West, you know, that's my home. Sure, me too. And I always feel more comfortable that way.
Just more elbow room.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Not much water, but a lot more room. It's the sacrifice.
And I find that, like, I can kind of feel the people or whatever. So when you get out, like, man, you drive across New Mexico, your head just kind of opens up and clears out. It's pretty special. Do you go back and write ever, like, out there, or no?
Well, I mean, I kind of, you know, I got ideas going all the time, but I'm part of a festival we do up in Red River, New Mexico, which is
that with Drew? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which is always great. We're always up there a little bit early, and there's always a song or two that comes out. And then my family has some land in Silver City, New Mexico, so that's a pretty cool place to go and walk around in the woods, and your mind just opens up because there's a lot of room.
Exactly. There's space for you to move in.
That's why they call it country music. You're in the country.
That's right.
Oh, is that why?
That's what they used to call it. They used to call it that.
You like country music, not like city music?
Yeah. I like metropolitan.
Metropolitan music, that's right.
Metropolitan cowboy music.
Genre's a whole nother thing, but yeah, I certainly agree with you that, like, independent spirit is pretty special, and if you're gonna do something like this, it comes in handy.
Well, it's everybody that does it has an independent spirit. You don't do this and set out. It's sort of like a panhandler headed out to California to try to find the gold. We're still doing the same thing.
Right. That's a great analogy.
We're still hunting for our fortune, and we don't know what's out there, and we don't know the pitfalls that are going to be along the road, and we're not afraid. A lot of people are really, really afraid. I meet people all the time. They're talented people, and I'll be talking to them, and I can hear the fear in their voice. I can tell they're. It's like, but I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's over that hill. You know, and it's like, well, who cares? That's the exciting part to me. It's like, let's get over it and see.
My cousin went back to New Mexico to farm, to his family farm. And he's Dartmouth educated. He's a brilliant guy. And he had this really good job in Houston, and he made the decision, and he was telling me about it, and he said I told everybody I was leaving, I was going back to farm. And he said, I felt like a monkey that had escaped from the cage at the zoo, and all the other monkeys were still in the cage looking at me going like, what are you gonna do? And he was like, I don't know, but it's all gonna work. And he was telling me, because like, I feel like you never got in the cage, you know, which I kind of didn't, you know. I mean, I've just sort of been chasing this my whole life. But he's like, it's pretty exhilarating. I'm like,
You're like,
it's touch and go sometimes, but it's pretty awesome.
It is. That's what my buddy, I told you, got those cuts. He told me one time we were sitting there, and he said, you know, you give a lot to this, and sometimes it don't give you a lot back, but one thing it does give everybody that chases it, it gives them an extraordinary life. You meet extraordinary people. You go to extraordinary places. And when you talk about the West and you talk about that wide open space thing, there's a lot of people that live their whole lives in the town they grew up in. They wear the same shoes they wore in high school until they're old men. You know, they go to the same places. They're with the same girl that they went to high school with. Their whole experiences, and one guy told me the other day, said this old man where he came from passed away, And he said you could literally, where they buried him on top of the hill, they were at the graveside, and they could literally see the man's house that he was born in, and he had never left that town.
Yeah.
So he was born in that house, and he died right here.
Yeah.
And he never went anywhere in his life.
Yeah.
And there are people that are only comfortable doing that they feel, you know, but whatever it is in us, it's a wanderlust, what do you call it, whatever, but it's that thing of, I've got to go try something that no one else has ever done just to see if I can do it.
Yeah,
you know?
That pioneering kind of spirit.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's
what's over like, that hill?
That's right.
The ocean.
Yeah.
Well, what's across that ocean?
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool that we can say that that's our job, right? To discover that stuff so that we can, you know, put it in some sort of art form.
Yeah.
To the people.
Yeah.
And I still remember sitting down by the river with an old guitar. I found Willie the wandering gypsy and a poet's heart. And I'm still burning the night, chasing the light, sometimes up till dawn, looking for something strong as Billy Joe save a song.
People.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel lucky that it's my job to travel around and play music and learn, right? Like,
Oh my
experience.
gosh, you learn so much. You know, there's nothing cooler than to sit down and talk to an old, like guy like Sonny Throckmorton. To sit down and talk to those people and just ask them, man, so what did you do? How was your journey? Like kind of like what you're doing.
Yeah.
You ask them these questions and they just unfold all this stuff.
Yeah.
They've seen everybody. They've been everywhere. They've done everything. They've had money. They've had all the trappings of fame and fortune, and they've lived in little trailers and you know, and a lot of times it comes full circle. They go from their humble beginnings like Sonny did in West Texas, and go to Nashville and have this huge career and 80 years of life, and he's right back in Spicewood, Texas, you know, living in a little house and just kind of. But
he has those experiences.
It's
though.
like, yes, but he has all these things, and as an old person, when I'm 80, I want to be able to sit and just go back and flip through. Like that's what Josh and I was writing on today, a song about, you know, you see these things all the time. They come back into your mind. I'm not thinking, you know, I think a lot of people, all they have are the memories of their childhood.
Sure.
But I've got so many of just everything, everywhere I've been and all the people. Yeah. And I'm still having those experiences. I'm still making them, even at the Shade Tree Saloon.
Yeah.
You know, still making memories with people, making those moments that are they're gonna be a part of my tapestry.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. No, I think that's super special. And what you do to help support young songwriters or aspiring people is so important because, you know, for people who have no idea of what anything is like in this world, to have somebody experience, like, give them a little bit of, you know, knowledge. Because it's easy to get caught up and go down wrong roads, too. There's a lot of people who are, you know, take advantage and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, this if this podcast is, you know, going to be infinitely on the interwebs, I don't know if you'll still be doing your Wednesday nights at this at the Shade Tree Saloon.
I do it every in 2019. Yeah, I'm doing it every Wednesday night.
Yeah, but it's really a unique experience. I love it. I really love coming and playing and seeing other folks play. It's
you know what I love? Deal. I love the people.
Yeah,
I love connecting with people because I didn't get to do that for so many years in a real way.
True. That's interesting, yeah, because as a songwriter, when you're just writing with other songwriters, you don't necessarily get to do that a lot.
You don't.
No.
You don't. In the music business, you don't really know who you can trust.
Sure. Yeah.
You really don't know who your friends are. Even the people you're working with and working for, everybody has an ulterior motive. Sure. Everybody's looking for an angle. Everybody's doing something. So you don't. Out here at the Shade Tree, when I go out there to play, I know those people are looking for information when they come and they're wanting to find out stuff.
Sure.
And I want to tell them.
Yeah.
Because I had nobody telling me. Yeah. I had nobody giving me. I was just shooting in the dark.
Yeah.
My whole life. I felt like it was just, you know. But if you've got the information to go on, it may scare you. Mm-hmm. You know, I may tell you something that may go, ooh, I don't really know if I want to do this. But it gives you information so you know how to adjust your plan.
Sure.
And approach what you're trying to do.
Yeah. How about you? Did you have any like mentors or, you know, kind of in the scene to help you like that? Or
it took a while. Again, it's that Western spirit, and I came up as David did, just playing, you know, what was a college band, just trying to get the local gig and then get this and man, I didn't know anything about publishing for the first 10 years of my career. You look back and it's just like, and now I am in a place where younger artists, or I'll meet younger artists, and they will have these questions, and I'm like, please sit down, let me talk to you for an hour. Like I think I could save you a lot of money in 5 years if you just let me talk to you for an hour. Because man, I was shooting in the dark so bad, so big. Drew is my brother, you know, and he and I have been through so much, not even necessarily together, but like at the same time, if you know what I mean. Like we were just kind of moving like this, and we always have, and we still do. But he got a publishing deal, and I just was like, what? And he's a really smart guy, you know, and I was like, same thing with David. I'm like, wait, they're paying you to write songs? I never even knew this was a thing. And I've loved country music my whole life. I guess that's just me not asking enough questions, but
well, you don't know what questions to ask.
Right.
It's just like any other business, very specific, you know, technical things.
But when I moved to Nashville, I did meet some people, you know, and I was very fortunate to work with Tim Dubois for a few years, and
great guy.
I mean, he definitely
had
a wealth of knowledge and helped me understand a lot of things that I did not. Walt Wilkins down here has been a really cool mentor, somebody I could go to, because he was in Nashville for 10 years writing at the publishing, you know, kind of, he knows the both sides of it. So those guys for sure were, but man, no, those first few years, I had no idea. And I spent a lot of reckless money, you know, on things you think are going to work, and that's part of everybody's journey, you know. Nobody's going to spend every dollar smart, but I spent.
There's nothing worse than see somebody spend $10,000 on a bunch of bad songs. And there's demo people out there, there's studios, and they'll take your money, and they don't care about your songs. And these people will go in and they don't have anybody to bounce stuff off of. And I think Chris Oglesby was probably the first person that listened to my stuff, and he took a big red marker and went through and started highlighting stuff, going, man, think about this, and you probably don't want to say that. And he's like an editor. And it kind of pissed me off. Because I'm a young guy thinking I'm writing pretty good songs, you know, and here he wants to put red marks all over the top of my stuff. And so he didn't see me again for 9 years.
Wow.
I've got a publishing deal with that little company I talked about. And I avoided him because I didn't want to know. I didn't want a publisher telling me I'm a songwriter. He's a publisher. He don't know how to write a song. You know, I had this ego about it. But I realized all he was trying to do was get me to think. Get me to think about what I'm writing.
Well, and that's an art too, because man, artists are so sensitive to criticism. It can really crush your spirit, like any criticism, honestly. So like guys who can like artfully, who truly want to help you, kind of like help you look, like you say, look at it different or something. It's important to have those people, but they're kind of few and far between.
They're few and far between that are willing to do it. A lot of the publishers won't even say anything. They just take your songs, and in 12 months you ain't got a song recorded, you're canned. They're not trying to help you. You know, Chris actually cares about songwriters and really trying to guide them. We called him our dream shepherd.
I like that.
Because he was like, man, think about this. I remember I wasn't singing demos. I wouldn't sing for anybody. And so Chris was like, you need to sing your demos. And I said, I'm not singing demos, Chris. And he kind of ignored it, you know. And so I went ahead and wrote a bunch of these songs, and I was having my first demo session at BMG. And I said, Chris, we need to get some demo singers. And he goes, nope, you're singing them. And I said, I'm not either. And he goes, yeah, you are. And I was so nervous. And we went in the studio. And I was scared to death. And I sang, and I remember Russ Paul was a steel player. He played with the Dixie Chicks and played with he's just a brilliant, masterful artist. And I sang this one song, and he said, man, you remind me of a young Ray Price.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow, he liked my singing. He liked my singing. It wasn't so bad, you know. And then I started getting other guys to say stuff, man, good job on that song. And so it built my confidence, and I think that's why Chris did it. He probably knew none of those songs were worth even demos.
Sure.
But the young writer, first session, we're going to go in and we don't care about the demos. We're just going to get you to sing and get you to...
You're confident.
Yes, and it built my confidence so much, man. The next time I sat down to write, I thought, man, I'm going to, I want to write something great, and I'm going to sing it, and I'm going to do better. And it just, you got to have that. You got to have somebody.
Yeah. Like I say, got those good people.
Yeah, good.
And there are, man. Yeah. There's so many great people that I've met in the industry that truly want to help you too. So like yourself.
They're usually songwriters.
Yeah.
Songwriters are the
hearts of gold.
Hearts of gold. That's right.
The humility in our business is always found in the songwriting world.
Oh man, I love it. Well, thank you guys for taking some time to talk with me.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you're doing this. This is a
real
cool
pleasure.
Thing, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'm glad I got to sneak in on this.
That's right. No, we're happy to have you. And I love your El Rey Court hat, too.
Yeah. Santa Fe, New Mexico,
Santa Fe,
baby.
I would say I've driven by there many a time.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
And they can find you at joshgrider.com and davidlee.com.
David Lee Music.
davidleemusic.com. That's right. I'm Tyler Music with 2 L's. So, yeah, we have to do... Josh Grider can just be Josh Grider.
Yeah, I know
We have to qualify ourselves with...
I do, because everybody thinks I'm David Lee Murphy, Seriously, I mean, I can't tell you how many people. I played a show one night, and this kid come up with a bottle, and he handed it to me, and he said, "Sir, do you mind signing this?" And I said, "Your beer bottle?" And he said, "Yeah, Dust on the Bottle is my favorite song in the world, and I thought it'd be cool to have you." And I was like, "You know what, man?" I said, "I'll sign it, but I hate that song."
Yeah.
And he said, "You hate it?" And I said, "Yeah, man, when you got to sing a song that many times, you just..." I went through this whole deal with him, and he never knew that I was not David Lee Murphy until when he left.
Yeah.
And David and I have, our whole career have, I'd have a hit, and at one time I had a song on Billboard, and I looked on it and said, D.L. Murphy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you kidding me? I had to call Billboard, get his name off of it. So one night he shows up somewhere doing a concert, and he got there, and they had a big billboard put up, and it was my face, David Lee Murphy. No. And he was like, "God dang, man."
That's funny.
But see, he's got davidlee.com.
Ah, there you go.
And so he
won't sell that domain.
No. and it's we're friends, and we've written together, and we laugh about it, but it is... At times, it's been... I even had a shirt made that said Murphy. It had Murphy across it with a circle with a slash through it. I wore it to our writing appointment one day.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
But yeah, he's a talented dude, great guy. He's just having a lot of success under David Lee.
Yeah, that's right.
And so people get confused.
They get a little confused. Yeah.
But thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, all right. Good luck with the rest of your trails.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Now, if you want to find out more information on David's music, you can visit davidleemusic.com. That's Lee. That's how he spells his last name. His Twitter handle is @DavidLeeJARS. And on Facebook, if you want to look up David Lee and the Jose Armadillo Roadshow, that's how you find his page. Now, to check out more about Josh, you can visit joshgrider.com. Grider is spelled Grider. And Instagram, it's @JDGrider. Twitter is @JoshGrider. The songs I included in this episode, Josh's song was One Night Taco Stand. That was the first song played in the episode. And then Songbird was the next one we popped in. That was from David Lee. I think his most recent album, and also Billy Joe Shaver's song. That's also a David Lee tune. As always, you can catch up with the latest episode by searching Tyler, Tyller, at cowboysandindians.com. And you can also check out Cowboys and Indians social media stuff. It's @CI_magazine for their Twitter, and @Cowboys and Indians Magazine for Instagram. And if you'd like to follow me or learn more about my music, my Instagram is @Tyler, Tyller music. And my website is tylertyllermusic.com. You can also search me on Facebook. All right, well, hope to have you as a listener in the future. See you down the trail.